Hello everyone, good evening. We'll start now. Welcome to our online session on orientation about Certified Internal Auditor program offered by Institute of Internal Auditors. So to present this program, we have with us Ms.Nikitha Prakash. I'll give a brief introduction about her now. So she has more than 5 years experience in audit and IT risk advisory. So she is a graduate in commerce. She has completed the MSc IT. She is a ACCA affiliate, and she has also completed the certificate program in data science and business analytics. So currently, she's working with CNC and Associates, an audit firm. She is involved in risk-based internal audits, IFC reviews, and system reviews. So basically, she is into lead counselor for IIA course. So she has done a lot of classes with different colleges and educational institutions. And she has handled classes for IIA, CA Institute, and different colleges as guest faculties and guest lecturers in topics of analytics, internal audit, dealing with IR, etc. So, with this brief introduction, I hand over the session to Nikita for going forward. Yes.
Thank you so much for the introduction. Good evening to all of you who have made it for today. So today, as the topic suggests, we will be going through how anybody can qualify to be an internal auditor. So which is the certification which has been provided by the IIA. So I'll just share my screen. Yeah. I hope my screen is visible. Yeah, I think somebody has asked whether we'll be providing the PPT. Yes, I think after this session, the PPT will be shared. Yeah. Okay. So firstly, I will be going through pretty much all the courses which are being launched by the IIA. Majorly, we will be on to CIA, but I just want others to also know there are some other certifications and qualifications which are being provided by the IIA. So IAP is an internal audit practitioner. CIA, which is our topic for the day, which we will be going into details for. CRMA, which is a certification in risk management assurance, is another certification which is being provided by the IIA. And QIAL, which is the qualification in internal audit leadership, which is the topmost certification which is being provided by the IIA. So when it comes, we'll start with CIA itself. Yeah. Okay, so the steps are extremely simple. So I will be taking you through even the CCMS module, how you will be going through it while your registration into the IIA. So for the steps, first is application. You will have to create an application for yourself with all your basic requirements. Then there is a test which is being created and then you get certified. There are a few prerequisites which is being required at each step. Where the CCMS module is being designed in such a way which is very smoothly, it will take you through the registration process. So new standards are under discussion, so shall wait. What if we pass now? We will be required to take another exam. So again, I'm getting a lot of questions. I will be answering the questions probably towards the end. I will take maybe last 15 to 20 minutes, we will be on the questions. Yeah, so certified internal auditor, all of us know what it is, the qualification. There are a few advantages which we'll be discussing also. But before all that, first I want to tell you, there are some entry and exit eligibility requirements which any person entering into the world of CIA or getting the certification would be required to do. One of those things is proof of education, your character reference, and identification as a person. So any kind of proof, identity proof that you will have to submit with the IIA's portal. So that's one of the first things you will have to do. So there's no necessity for one to have a master's degree. However, at least a UG degree needs to be submitted. That's a bachelor's degree will have to be submitted. It has to be recognized by UGC. So that will be the first requirement as an entry level. And then for your exit, there are more requirements which will be need to be provided, such as experience records which will have to be given. So we will be going into that as well. So initially there are only 3 things that you will be requiring. Either you have a bachelor's degree or something higher than that. Second is you will be requiring your post qualification. You will be requiring some experience, but in order to enroll yourself, you don't really need the experience criteria. Experience criteria is more towards your when you're actually going to get the certificate. So in order to study with IIA, you will not be requiring any kind of experience as such. But to get the certificate as such, like how even for your CA, to get the certificate, you need some years of articleship. Similarly, for CIA also we require, but that's completely towards the end when you actually need the certificate. But to take up the exams, there's no such prerequisite which is required. So you need it from the university for your BCom or for any other graduation course you would have taken up. You will need a letter from the university confirming that degree, which will be your certificate. The next thing that you will be requiring is your character reference. So that's a very small form. I will show you the form and the details which will need to be provided along with that. Then we have proof of identification. So this could be your Aadhaar, passport, anything where your personal details are being disclosed. So it should be current and not expired, obviously. And then you can come into the work experience part. So for the first step that we started, to start with, you will have to log into your CCMS, which is the candidate management system. So the link to log into the CCMS is being provided here. So you can use this link and you can log in. So it's completely user friendly. Firstly, you will have to fill some basic requirements like name, email ID. You will have to set in a password, just like any other basic registration. Once that is done, you can go into your other details, like your terms and conditions will be provided, like your personal information, what is it used for. So you will agree on to your terms and condition, and then you come into paying up your application fees. So application fees is one time fee which you pay before taking up your exam. Irrespective of taking up any kind of exam, you will have to pay a application fee which is valid up till 2 years. Once that is done, you will have to upload certain details like your education systems and all that, which I had told. I will also show you how it is done in the system. So in your CCMS, towards the left side, you will have a navigation checklist. The first thing that it would be requiring is ethical standing, then education, your photo ID, character reference, and special accommodation. So these are the 5 things. Special accommodation only if you have any kind of special needs, like if you're visually challenged, something like that. Only in that case you will have to take up the special accommodation. Other than that, the first 4 is required: ethical standing, education, your photo ID, and character reference. Those 4 things are mandatory for you to first enroll or to even start with. So proof of education, you can see towards the right side. You will have to give which education level, when was it awarded, or what university you have studied in, etc. So it's easy to do that. Once that's done, even for your proof of ID, it's a photograph that you will have to attach. So a scanned copy of it. For your ethical standing alone, you will have to just say whether you're being convicted for anything or not. Just a yes or no checkbox. For your character reference, you will have to give the authority to somebody to kind of sign off for you. That could be any person in your organization or any other third person as well. You will have to just fill in their details, and a mail will directly be sent to that specific person, and then that person will be able to give a sign off to that, and then here it will get populated. As I said, special accommodation for those who will be requiring any kind of or come under the category of disabled. So they will have to submit this, and they will be tested if it's genuine, and then they will be able to proceed. So once you kind of load all this, you will get a small progress or a status in your CCMS only, asking for whether your progress status applied or is it still on a waiting list. Then how long will this expire within? Have you made the payment for the application fees? And then whether your proof of identification, education, character reference, all this, has it been provided? So this detail is like a summary of whatever has been done till now. Rejected or approved document, you'll get a notification to your mail ID whether it has been approved or it has been rejected. So that will be sent to your mail ID in which you have actually provided to the provided in the CCMS. So once you are approved, so they take a couple of, I think, days to approve it. So they will verify whatever details has been furnished in the CCMS. Is it the right information or it is as per the requirement? Once that has been satisfied, you will again receive a mail stating whether you are approved, or your application, whatever you have submitted, which has been approved. Once this is approved, then you will be eligible to start up with your exams. So eligibility criteria, once it's been done, you will get a small notification, and it will be here in the status. You will be able to see that IIA part 1, part 2, part 3, whether you're eligible to take it. So once that is the eligibility criteria is set, and once you're taking up the exams, okay, that time, either or at that point when you're starting to take up the exams, or at a point where you've completed all 3 papers and you're waiting for your certification, you can start to record your work experience. So in order to get the certification, as I already told, you need work experience. For doing the exams, you don't need it. So you can always keep it to the last while you will be requiring your certificate. At that point in time, you will have to finish up your experience, filling your experience criteria. So for the experience criteria, you will again have to give a supervisor who will be validating that, what kind of job title you were in, start date, end date for that city in which you had you were, your office or your booking place was. And once this has been verified by the person you have selected or chosen, then this criteria of experience as such will also be considered. So again, this can be done at any point. For your exam scheduling, you have a registration section where you can register and schedule your exam. For your CIA general or your traditional method, where you're taking part 1, part 2, part 3, it's more on a demand-based exam. So there's no specific date on which an exam is being conducted. So it's on demand. So you will have to fix and schedule a time and register. And once you have registered, and if the date and the time slot is available, you will be taking up your exam with the Pearson VUE. So you will have to sign up with them. So for that, you will have to go into the scheduling and exam tab, and then you actually enter the details of the exam schedule date, and then you will have to take it up on the specific day in which you have applied for it. So here you will get a dashboard on for your Pearson VUE. You will get a single sign-on with your details in which you registered for, and at what place you are going to take it, at a local center, at home. So remote exams usually was there for a temporary period during Corona. At the moment, it's not there. However, for those who are taking, you can schedule it always through Pearson VUE. Select the language. So you can obviously, we'll be selecting English. And then you can make payment for your exam. Once your appointment has been fixed, you will go into proceed, and then the payment is being made. So once the payment makes, everything is being intimated to the person via mail. So this is just how your order has been booked, what time is your appointment, all your entire detailed summary will be provided. At this point, yes, you are assured that you're registered for the exam. So once you're, with regard to your exam results, it will be published within a day in case of this thing, or you will get it, I think, exactly on the completion of your exam, and then it gets published on the site within a day into your CCMS. So officially you get it in the screen, but it will be published to your mail ID, I think, within a day. And then your certification process, again, filling up of details, etc. You will have to go through your CCMS to do so. And then you can obviously print your certificate in case if there is any requirement that you will have to show it to your employer. You can always take a printout of the entire certificate which you have obtained. So some of the glossaries that they use here. So I just thought it would be useful as a beginner, if at all, anybody who's new into the CCMS. So yes, there are some exemptions if you are members. So we'll go into that exemptions part with the CIA challenge exam module. I will also take you through the syllabus broadly. So there are 3 parts, as I already told. You can take the parts in any order. We usually suggest to take the parts one by one, in the sense, in the order it is. Part 1 will broadly be the essentials of internal auditing. So if you're already there in internal auditing field, you wouldn't feel much difficult, except for the ethics part, which is slightly different from what we follow in India as such. The standards in which the exam will be set is mostly in the US standard. So you will have to, spend some more time doing a lot more of practice questions, a lot of question bank which is being provided by various service providers, so and learning partners. So you can take up their exams, or you can take up the question bank, do them multiple times so that you will also get the speed. So the question paper, or the number of questions, 125 questions, which you will have to take it up in a time of 2.5 hours. So around 150 minutes you will get. So around 1 minute per question will be ideal for you to complete the paper. So one usual thing that we find with students is time constraint. So due to which they would not be able to clear the exam. But with proper time management and going through a lot of question and answers, or the Q bank, which they call, if you do that multiple times, I think speed will be one thing, and you will be able to better associate with answers, at least for the ethics part, which is kind of different due to the cultural differences. There is no negative marking. So everything will be based on the number of marks you have obtained. So for the marking part, so the question will be 125, but you will be marked for a mark of 700. 600 will be the pass mark. So when it comes to 600, it's actually number of questions you have answered is on 125, but it will be converted to a reporting scale, which IIA has. So it will be converted into the score of 750, for which you will have to get a mark of 600. So if you pass, you don't actually get the mark details, but if you're not able to clear, IIA's module, the purpose in view, or the exam module is being created in a way which will give you details of the area which you have not performed well, or wherever you will be requiring a lot more of improvement, and also whatever marks you have scored. So that details will be provided to the person who's taking up the exam. So for part 1, the areas will be around code of conduct, which is independence, objectivity, proficiency, due care. Then quality assurance, QA, IP, we call it quality assurance and improvement programs. GRC, governance, risk management, and control. Then fraud risk. So this is broadly the syllabus, and we will be starting with the IPPF, which is the framework which is set by the IIA. So there will be questions around IPPF. So that is something which could be area which is new. Study material, yes, IIA is broadly giving you the syllabus. But for study material, there is Learn CIA, there is so many modules, but basic study material will be provided by IIA. You can also get Glean study material for an extensive read on. So for this is broadly for part 1. For part 2, we have it with 100 questions and 120 minutes. Here you will majorly go into how an engagement is planned, performing an engagement, communicating engagement results, monitoring of progress. So how the audit takes place from the engagement to the monitoring. So the entire cycle of internal auditing. Again, here, like how we saw the attribute standards in the first part, here again, IPPF will be connected to the performance standards. So there are quite a few number of series which fall under the performance standard, which you will be learning in the part 2. And then in part 3, it's majorly business acumen, information security, different areas of our internal audit, not just finance, but business process re-engineering, information security, technology. What are the different what are the different areas which an internal auditor will be required to know? So all of your business concept will be tested in part 3. Part 3 is usually considered to be slightly bigger than what is being done in part 1 and part 2. The syllabus and the portions is also slightly heavier than what it is in part 1 and part 2. So with proper, I think, learning methodology. So most of us are working. So with proper learning methodology, whichever you would be following in terms of number of hours which will be allocated for studying, I think it will not be a difficulty in clearing up the exam. Yeah. Okay. So for the, if at all the results are not positive, there is a 90-day window where the person will have to take up the next attempt only after 90 days. If you have cleared it, obviously you get a mail within 1 day with the details of your information about your passing results. If you are not able to take it up or do it this time, there's always a 90-day window, 3 months period in which you can take up, and there is no limit to the number of times you can retake an exam. So that is one advantage. So IIA India, one good news is IIA India has a discount in the pricing. So they say it as non-member member. So non-member is somebody who's not paid the membership fee or has been enrolled as a member. So we will be coming into the next few slides on what is the advantage of becoming a member of IIA. If you are a member, you get a small discount in the tariff. There is a special pricing for IIA India. So if you have registered under IIA India, there's a special discount. So your application fee, your part 1, part 2, part 3, and even if you're taking up the other exam, which we will broadly discuss, which is the CRMA, so Certified Risk Management Assurance. So for that also, we have a small discount in the tariff. So for anybody who's taking up, I think you will be paying, the rate which you will be paying is what is being shown here. And during the month of May, which is the advocacy month, you will have a bigger discount for the IIA, if you're in part of the IIA India. So what is this membership all about? So once you become an IIA member, so usually a membership, we assume that only after you become a certified internal auditor, you'll be provided membership. But no, you can become a member even without being a CIA. You need not take up the exam. You need not fulfill any of these criteria given there. You can still be an IIA member. So what would be, other than the exam or the tariff discount that you are getting as an IIA member, there are some other advantages which you can look upon. One of that is, yes, discounts on your CIA exam material, etc. You will also have an opportunity to access the latest examination preparation resource. So this examination preparation resource, you will be getting it through the CCMS portal itself. There is a small handbook which IIA has released on how CCMS works. We will be sharing that also after this class. So you can have a look on to how you can access the latest exam preparation resources. Next is on networking opportunities. They usually conduct, I think regularly, mostly at least 3 to 4 times a month. You will be having some interaction, some networking activity, some seminars which are being going on. So it will definitely be an opportunity for those who are already in the stream as well to kind of explore and also get to know new people. So the next thing is on sharpening competence. Yes, some of the latest topics are being taken, and some of the veterans in the industry will be asked to speak about those topics. You can also give some of the suggestions through the contact us in IIA's Madras page as well, where they monitor what are the different requirements of anybody who's a member, and some of the latest topics are being put up, calling veterans from the respective departments. So the next thing is stay informed and up to date on the latest trends, opinions, headlines. Yes, anything on internal audit. This is like a one-place stop where you will get any information on internal audit. So that we can assure by going through. Either newsletters would be taken up, or you will have these webinars, some conferences, networking events. So you will be up to date. The next thing is on the industry standards. So based on how audit has differed from how it was, what are the new technology an internal auditor should be knowing, what are the new skills an internal auditor should possess in order to add value. And also on the leadership front, they are taking up volunteers, event presenters, contributing authors. So you can also contribute for the magazine, newsletters. So it's also again like a give and take, where you can attend these seminars one side, and you can also contribute for the seminars or newsletters or magazines, etc. So the membership fees is around 4,000 for an annual membership fee. There is an institutional membership and a student membership. So student is only for those who are doing their graduation. Other than that, everybody falls under the individual membership. So for the individual membership, it's 4,000 per year. So for the individual membership, I've just put up the screen where you can go. You can put, if at all you are an CIA, you can enter that detail. Even if you are not a certified internal auditor, you can still. With regard to the, I think somebody has asked with regarding to the difficulty level, exam difficulty level, I would say if you are already into the field of internal auditing, only the IPPF probably would be an area which is new, and the ethics. Other than that, from the risk and controls perspective, we will pretty much know anything with regard to cultural differences. Yes, there would be some learning, something which you will have to kind of take some effort and do. So if you do more than, I think, 1,750 to 1,000 questions, I think that's more than enough. It will not be very difficult for us to clear the exam from the exam's perspective. How much of which we will be using in real life, we need to see that. Yeah. Sample question. There are I think around 10 sample question. You can find it in the IIA website itself. You can, I can also show it to you, probably navigate you. You can, or you can go into the IIA website itself and just click sample questions. So they don't really give you a lot of questions, but at least they tell you how questions could be, or you can also register for question bank with other service providers. Yes. Okay, so then benefits of CIA certification. So why would anybody want to would need to take the CIA certification? One reason to take it is global recognition. So the CIA is the only globally recognized internal audit certification, and it's appreciated across the world. So it's recognized and appreciated across the world. At least it is a start point for anybody who will be interested into getting into the world of internal audit. So to become a CIA and a member, it's obviously, we discussed as to being just a member, you get multiple benefits. Yes, proficiency, credibility, and improved competence is one area where with the certification, it's better, or it's rather easier to convince somebody that we are already aware of certain terms which are being used in the industry standard, and also with regard to identification of risk, controls, etc. With regard to the income, yes, if you are able to utilize whatever you have studied and you're able to put it in practice, then yes, income would anyways come in. Job opportunities, yes, quite a bit of job opportunities are there. You can also explore through LinkedIn, where most of the details of jobs are being put up, and also Naukri Anywhere to see the statistics of how much internal auditors would be required. So you will find quite a lot of opportunities for internal audit. GRC expertise, yes, you will be able to explore, or at least understand what is governance and controls and all that, which is of a high demand job now. So yeah. So I also thought before going in, we have some more slides for our CIA. I also thought I'll broadly take you through some of the other exams which is being given by IIA. So CRMA is one. So CRMA candidates must have an active certified internal auditor designation prior to being approved into the CRMA program. So yes, once you have done your CIA, if at all you're interested to go one step forward, then it's the CRMA qualification exam. So for that, you will have to pass your CIA, and also you will have to have work experience of 5 years. And then for the CPE part, I have another presentation which I will be going through. For the eligibility period, again here, you have up till 2 years, the window for your CRMA. Again, you have to pay an application fee, and unlike your CIA, there's no 3 parts. It's just one part. So application fee and your exam registration fee. QIAL is one step even above that. So must meet eligibility requirement. Again, your character reference, work experience, identification, that's common, which you will have to go through. Here you will go one step forward on ethics and all that, which you will be studying. So for becoming a QIAL, there's a 2 program pathway which you will have to go into. So the number of experience you will be required, and eligibility criteria, how you have to be an audit executive. These things you will have to fulfill in order to take up that. So yeah, the pricing again for that, it's a case study based exam. Just one moment, some other question. India discount for CRMA. Yes, sir, I will provide that as well. So pricing for QIAL is being provided for a member and non-member. So for your CIA, yes, there is a lot of discounts which are being provided, but for CRMA and QIAL, I think there's no much of discounts for India as such. Okay, AIP is your internal audit practitioner, which is a very preliminary or a basic fundamental exam just to know what is internal audit. So that can be taken up if you're a complete beginner. Obviously, it is a kind of small, the portion or the items covered is lesser compared to the CIS. So I'll also show you, just closing up this PPT. Yes, I'll just take you through the CCMS once. So this is a CCMS handbook for your login creation. Yeah, for those who are finding it difficult to register and log in, so this will be the site which you will log into, and the sign-in procedure for in order to log in is being provided here. The details that you might be requiring. So maybe before you could register, I think if you have the details handy, it's much easier when you start with the registration process. So you will get the home screen this way. And then some of these screens, I had put it in the PPT itself. I will be sharing this as well, where if at all you're stuck with anything with regard to navigating in the CCMS, you can always go through this PDF, or you can also use the Contact Us tab, which is there in your in our IIA website itself. I think there's another question. What is the score to clear the exam? It's actually 75%, sir. So in 125 questions, each question that you answer will be marked as 1. So which will give you as 125, but IIA has a different reporting scale. So this will be converted into a score of 750. On 750, you will have to get 600. So 600 is considered as the pass mark. I hope that answers your question. So yeah, as I said, this will be also provided if at all you're having, but even if you're not able to follow using the steps provided here, we have a help desk in IIA website itself where people will be able to take you through that. Yeah, so I will also take you through the certification handbook. Yeah. With regard to the exam clearing and the pass mark. So as I told you, these are the 4 exams which are being provided, or rather 4 certification or qualification which is being provided. You can read up on this as well for more details. I will take you through the for CIA alone. So proof of identity, what and all ID you need to provide, if it's passport, or what and all is unacceptable ID that is also being provided. So these are details you will be required to be submitting in order to take in your CCMS part. Just one, I will just show you the exam requirements as well. So yeah, if you want to change your appointment, so sometimes what happens, we will want to reschedule or cancel. So that is also possible. Is there any requirement that non-member registered at IIA should take exams from India? No, so there's no such restrictions. If you are registered here, you can still take up the exam if you're not in India as well. I think that was also there in one of the earlier sessions that we had. So yes, you can take up. Changing an exam appointment is also possible through your CCMS itself. This is another question, I think. Just one moment. Yes, I suppose IIA, Indian IIA member can take up is what I suppose. I will check that once again because I remember checking this for another student as well. I think it is possible. I will check on this, sir, and I will get back. Mostly, yes, we have found this to be a problem with some other student as well. But I think, yes, we were able to accommodate for that. I will check and revert on this one point alone, sir. Yes. So sit for the exam. Yes, whether you are scheduled to take your exam via online, yes, you can take it via online. There's the computer based. But for the test centers, you can tell which is your area or which place you will be fine with for taking up the exam. So before starting the exam, you will have to obviously reach that test center and check on whether you're available, the seat and all that is available. Any unexpected closure of the center, or if the exam you were not able to take up the exam, you can contact Pearson VUE's customer service. If at all it's on the mistake of the exam proctoring center, then your fees will be refunded and you can take up the exam. There's no penalty. However, if the student was not available on that day or was not able to contact, then it will not be deferred. That is, it's gone. You will have to repay and you will have to take up the exam. Yes. So this is on the exam. On receiving your score, as I already said, it's been converted into a reporting scale of 250 to 750 points. You will have to get a score of 600 or higher to pass the IIA exam. So yeah, this is the criteria for retaking the exam. As I told you, you can take it multiple times. It's 60 days here, but now it's been 90 days that you will have to wait for to take it up again. Third step is the most simple, where you will have to process your proof of experience, and then you will complete the as in you will get your certification. So that's the last step in getting your certification. The final most thing, once you've got your certification, in order to retain it, you will have to annually renew your membership. So for renewing of membership, I think from the September 2023, there's another circular which they have put up. I will be taking you through that as well. As of now, 31st December annually, you will have to revisit your certification. So you will have to pay a small membership fee in order to renew it annually. So otherwise your certification status would be inactive. So that's the only thing that it will not be in your register. The certification registry, you will not find your name. So that's for the thing. And social media batches are also being provided for those who have completed. So that's again an added advantage for those even trying jobs. You can publish your batch which is being provided. So exam security and misconduct, this I think you can just go through. This is just for submitting wrong details and all that. How do they penalize? So this is just for that purpose. And even if you want to, report anything, yes, you can go through the security site and report. So these are some of the links which would be helpful in case of for the exam purpose and security purpose, and for going through your Pearson VUE and etc. So I will be providing this PDF as well for those who will be interested to read more on this. With this broadly, we've done on the traditional CIA, which is the 3-part exam. Now, I think we can move into the challenge exam. I hope everybody is aware of this CIA challenge exam. So what is CIA challenge exam? So CIA challenge exam is for those who are already auditors or chartered accountants. So CIA has been, IIA has come up with this new thing called CIA challenge, where if you're already a member, you are being exempted to take up those 3 exams. Rather, you will be just taking up 1 exam. Okay, just 1 exam which you will have to take up. So this is a much easier. No, I wouldn't say easier, but all the 3 parts put together becomes 1 exam. Only a small part of the portion has been removed. Apart from that, whatever you saw in part 1, part 2, part 3, the entire syllabus will be covered, except for the financial part, which is already there, covered in a chartered accountant's exam. That part alone will not be there. Apart from that, anything over and above that, everything will be in your CIA challenge exam. So the portions would be heavy, but it's just one exam and flexible rather. So that would be a reason for taking up this. How is it different from the regular? Yes, there's no 3-part and it's only 1 part. Will the challenge exam be conducted every year? As of now, the dates for 2023 has been provided. I will be showing that also in the future slides. So in 2023, if anybody wishes to take up the challenge exam, you can take up. So who will be eligible? You will have to be one of the qualified accounting bodies. You will have to be one of the members of the qualified accounting bodies. So these will be the 13 qualified accounting bodies for you to take up the exam. So one is ACCA, which is the Association of Chartered Certified Accountants. Then you have CAANZ. What is the scope of CIA for non-finance people? Yes, so as I already said, CIA is not only focusing on finance, it's more on controls, process, risks, security, IT. So it's not just for finance people. If that's what is your question, you can still take it up. However, if you're new into, that is, if you've been doing on the IT side, you can still come into the internal audit side. I don't know exactly which side you are in. But it's not a prerequisite. It is not a requirement for anyone who's only in the finance side to be an internal auditor. Internal auditor is nothing to do with finance. It is, I think, more than finance. So it's more onto the process, process documentation, identification of risk control, how governance of the company is being maintained, what ethics are being followed, how is the compliance, various compliance, not just statutory, but regulatory compliance are being taken care of. It's more onto that perspective rather than the finance part. Yes, finance is a small part of CIA. We will be doing more onto the other parts like process, gap identification, how are remediation plans set up, how are ERP controls configured. Okay, so it's more onto that perspective rather than finance. So these are the, I hope that answers your question. So these are the 13 qualified accounting bodies which will be, which you will be eligible for the CIA challenge exam. So so if you have already passed your one of these, you will be able to take up your challenge exam. However, you need to be an active member. So for by active member, what we mean is you will have to pay a registration fee and complete your CPE. If one is into audit or risk management field but not a CA, can he take up the challenge exam? No, sir. You will have to be a CA, or you will have to be fulfill either one of these 13. So you will have to be either an ACCA or an CAANZ or a CPA Canada, CPA Australia, or any of this. Only if you're part of any of this, you will be able to take up the challenge exam. Otherwise, you will have to go with the traditional route. The traditional route is one exam at one point in time. So you will have to go through that route, sir. Yeah, then the next question is, for working professional, please share your guidance and suggestions to clear the exam. So most of the students that we have will be from the working background. Very few are from colleges. So for anybody who is working, you will have to allot maybe sometime during the weekends or at least an hour a day for learning the I would say from the text part or the learning part, the material. It won't take much of time because some of those things you would have already heard of. So what we suggest our students as well is that 1 hour per day, and probably during the weekends lot more number of hours can be allocated. Before registering for the exam, we usually tell them to take up as much questions as possible. because questions help you understand or identify how much you have understood a concept. Most of the questions will be conceptual, few with regard to sums. Mostly will be conceptual questions and scenario based questions. So more number of questions, I think the better it is, and it will also help you in clearing the exam quickly. So that is one suggestion that we usually provide to our student. So don't go up by telling 1 month is enough, 2 months is enough, and then register for the exam, because you will be paying around 10 to 15,000 per exam. So the best thing we suggest is not to waste money. So complete it at the first go. So to complete at the first go, once you're comfortable with all the questions and answering, it's better to register for the exam. And if you're not from the CIA background, a little bit more efforts with regard to the conceptual knowledge you will have to develop. So that is with regard to for working professionals. Can a telecom person into risk management have advantage for CIA? Yes, sir. If you're working in the risk management department itself, majorly the CIA course is designed for risk control and compliance and governance. So yes, it will benefit provided you're working in the risk management and audit side or vigilance side. The next is any fee relaxation of CIA challenge exam. As of now, we don't have, sir. It's the same rates which I will be showing you in the screen. So there's no relaxation on CIA challenge exam. Can we take part 2 first and then part 1? Yes, sir. There's no restriction on which part needs to be taken. It can be taken in any order. It's totally up to the student. Your new standards are under discussion, so you should be wait. What if we pass now? Will we be required to take another exam in 2024? I don't think so, sir. If you pass now, you will be, if you're qualified and certified now, yes, you are certified. You need not take up an exam again. Okay. The next thing is the CIA challenge exam. How do you demonstrate that I'm an active member? So obviously, when your membership ID, whichever you give, that will be traced back to see if you are eligible for the CIA challenge exam. So these are the most of the FAQs which I thought if anyone else had as well, we can go through. I think there's another question. What do you suggest, part-wise or challenge pathway? There are people who half the way who were chartered accountants who took up the traditional method. They do not give any exemption, even if you have taken 1 or 2 parts in the traditional method. And still, if you're a chartered accountant taking up the challenge exam, they'll give no relaxation on that. You will have to take up the challenge exam, even if you have completed 1 or 2 parts. But if you're asking me whether should you go to the traditional or the challenge, the one part in challenge exam is it's 1 paper and the fees is slightly on the higher side only. So if you're completely confident and you have done the questions, yes, you can take up the challenge exam. No 2 ways on that. However, for those who are having time constraints and who would want to take some time and learn, yes, you can go by traditional part. One other reason people don't prefer to take up challenges, maybe because of too much at one go. Some people do take and they have cleared as well. Just that in challenge exam, you need not again revisit questions which are relating to finance, ratios, budgeting, costing, etc. So that's one advantage where there's no repetition. Other than that, you can take up the challenge exam. Can existing CIA registered students take this challenge exam? Will there be any concession in the fee? At the moment, there's no concession with the fees. So it is around 65,000 when you convert into INR. We will be going with the figures as well. ID proof, Aadhaar, passport or driver license, any one of these is fine for your ID proof. Character reference, the same thing which will be done for CIA. It's the same character reference that you will have to do for CIA challenge exam as well. So for CIA challenge exam, we have the links here to register. So this is the exam fee. So if you're an IIA India member, you will be paying 896.25. If you are retaking it, it's 595.25. So yeah, I think there's some other question as well. All parts exam to be given in single day or each part on? Yes, sir, you can take, it's not on a single day, you can take your time. For challenge exam, it will not be divided into parts, so just one exam. I think you're asking for the traditional. For the traditional, you can take it up based on your requirement. One exam today, within next 2 months also you can take the second exam. So there's no hard and fast rule. It has to be done on the same day or next year on a separate day. It's totally based on the students' requirement. So fees payment need to be paid in full. So as of now, it's still 896 only. So there's no change in the tariff. What fees do I need to pay to become a member of the IIA India? It's now 4,000 rupees is your annual fee to become a member of IIA. I think we have done with that as well. Student loan, yes, the BOB is providing loan for CIA challenge exam. So if you can opt for that, yes, you can opt for that as well. How do I prepare for the exam, any coaching material? So there is some digital details which is being given in the CIA learning system itself for CIA challenge exam. So that also can be taken up. There's some more questions. Whether fees to be paid for retake. Yes, sir. You will have to pay a fees. However, it's again not 896. There's a small a discount. 595 you will pay for retaking. So it's not free. You will have to every time you want to retake the exam, you will have to pay the same fees. Fees has to be paid. However, the amount is slightly lower. That's all. Is the benefit same if one registers across any chapter? Yes, sir. Any chapter can be, benefit is the same. IIA India is treated as one. It's not any. It's not specific to any specific chapter. Yes. So this is just on the learning system, what information and what details it gives. So you can access it through that. Syllabus, I can just show you the syllabus as well. I think it got closed. Yeah. So this page will give you more details on the syllabus part. It's what I showed in part 1, part 2, and part 3. It's all the 3 parts put together, except for the finance part. So finance, costing, budgeting part will not be included in the syllabus for CIA challenge exam. Except for that, the other parts will be there. So here also minimum requirement is 600 or higher out of 750. So no changes on that. So here they said the unsuccessful candidates may retake the exam in one of the testing windows within the 3-year program window. So within 3 years, he can take up, within the 3 years, he can take up the exam any number of times. So mostly you will receive by 1 week is what they say, if at all you have cleared the exam. So what is the reschedule for the exam? So this was for 2021. I have another PPT on CAA challenge. I will be showing there. For 2023, we have some dates which they have been provided. So again, here also person views will be the center you will be taking up the exam with. You will receive your score, I think, within 24 hours after your exam has been done. So this, I think the benefits I've already told. So this is on the various chapters. If at all you have any difficulty in communicating, you can always contact one of the chapters. They're always available to help. Syllabus change, yes, sir. There'll be changes to the syllabus, but nothing major, sir. So every 1 year there is a change in the syllabus, but nothing major. So you will be able to take up the exam. So last, data analytics was one part which was included in the syllabus last year. So you will have some new technology related things which are being included in the syllabus. So the candidates for the CIA challenge exam avail financing options. So I told you Bank of Baroda is one way in which they provide some discount, and they also provide some loan. Okay, so I'll just go into the challenge exam. Okay, so these are the fees which we had discussed. So I think I have broadly taken you through the opportunities. So I'm just quickly fast forwarding. that. So the new windows in which the candidate can apply is April 2023 and September 2023. The candidate can apply, register and schedule. The first attempt testing window for the candidate who has applied in April 2023 will be in June or August. So in order for someone to write in June or August, they will have to register in April or September. I think there are some other questions. Just one moment. Syllabus amendment available. Yes, sir. Everything is being put up in the IIA website itself. So if there is a change in the syllabus, majorly only small topics will be included. Based on the changes that they have made, the books will be updated and the content also will be updated, which IIA is providing. The first attempt testing window for candidates who are applying in September will be sometime in November or February 2024. So kindly see when you want to write. You will have to apply at least 2 months earlier to when you will have to write. Whereas for CIA or traditional exam, it's not that way. You can write it anytime. It's a demand-based exam. But for challenge exam alone, you will have to see through the time period in which you will be writing. Based on that, kindly register beforehand. Okay. Similarly, candidates are able to register for and schedule their retakes throughout the year, but they must retake the exam in these windows. So it's either February, June, August or November. Either of these windows, they will have to retake. Which is the best study material? I think what IIA is providing itself is enough, or you can take up Gleam, or you can also take up Wileys. So anything is fine. Or learn the CIA also is fine. So I hope the windows, if anybody is interested in challenge exam, you can apply. I think we're almost nearby. So yeah, by April, their windows will be opened. Okay. So I'll just take you through the certification. So for those who have already, I guess some questions are being coming up. Yeah, which is the best study material? Okay, once registered with CIA, can one get materials? Yes, so some materials is being provided by IA itself. In your CCMS, you have some preparatory notes which has been provided. There are other service providers also are providing like Gleam and Learn the CIA and all, who do give you some material as well based on the syllabus that has been provided by them. So yeah, we do have. I think someone has raised their hand. You can put the question in the Q&A box. So Ajay Kumar Sharma, you can put the question in the Q&A box. Comparing traditional versus challenge, which is having higher pass percentage. So pass percentage globally or India is around 40 to 45%. So for every 100 people who take up the exam, 40 to 45 people clear the exam. So almost half of the people clear the exam. So yeah. What's your Hawk medal? They have this assurance program to clear. I don't want to take up any names, so I'm not sure about this service this person who gives this material. Assurance program for clearing says if you take up the syllabus, whatever is provided in IIA, and if you study across the topic and do multiple Q&A, I think that will be good enough to pass the exam. So I don't know what kind of assurance they are providing. Maybe they have some extensive learning material, but I would suggest if it's a big fees that you will have to pay, it would be better if you could ask for any sample videos that they can provide before kind of paying a huge fees for taking up their learning material or video content. Are you providing as in the sense you can always contact through IIA, sir. So IIA is providing some webinars all on this crash course on CIA and exams like a challenge exam, etc. So that will be communicated by IIA. Okay. So with regard to the CIA annual certification renewal program or policy, so this is effective from 1st September 2023. So here we have a broad introduction onto for all the courses, and then it says the annual certification renewal period begins 1st January and ends 31st December each year. Certificate renewal must be completed via CCMS by 31st December annually. So that is the requirement as such for the certification. So it's from the 1st January to 31st December each year. If at all you're qualifying or you're certified sometime during the year, like let's say February, you are CPE, the point starting for the CPE will be in 2022, but need not renew until 31st December 2023. So if you're taking up any time in between, you will need not renew it in that year, and the following year you will have to renew your membership and your certification. So once you become a member, you will have to adhere to CPE. I think there's another question which is up. Please share in a little more detail of course coverage between normal and challenge. What are excluded in challenge exam? Okay. For that, I'll just probably, once I'm done with this, I'll probably open up for the challenge and the traditional exam, and I'll show you a comparison. Yes, that question is noted. Whether IIA has MCQ practicing questions? Yes, sir. Some sample practice question has been provided. So yes, you can take up that. You can also register for outsiders who are also providing some of the question banks for around 1,500 to 3,000 questions as well. So you can take up that as well. Can you please advise in terms of rating the course offered by IIA? This is IRM. So I will not talk for the other exam, but for CIA, in terms of rating, I don't know whether you're asking rating in terms of difficulty. In terms of difficulty, I would say 40 to 45% people pass. So with consistent preparation, and if you're already in the industry, I think it won't be that difficult to clear up the exam. So clearing the exam, you won't find it that difficult. However, if you're completely new, I would suggest taking up the question bank and then taking up the exam, because more number of questions you take up, better you associate. So yes. Join the session now after office hours. Can I get the recording of this session? I think yes, the recording for the session will be provided once the session is closed. Yes, sir. Okay. So for your, once you become a certified member, there is some CPE requirements that needs to be fulfilled. So CPE requirements will be provided here. So it's an annual CPE requirement. So if you're practicing, by practicing, what we mean is if you're in the field of internal audit, around 20 hours CPE will be required for other courses, and 40 hours if you're a CIA. Non-practicing, around 20. Retired, we don't have that. So practicing and non-practicing, around 40 and 20 will have to go with. So what and all counts for your CPE? Let's go and slightly into detail of that as well. So you can either take up training programs, you can either be a person who would be training, you can contribute for articles, seminars, technical sessions, formal in-house training. All of this will be counted for your CPE. Anything other than this which qualifies for CPE is authoring or contributing to publications, translating publications, delivering oral presentations, participating as a subject matter expert volunteer, performing external quality assessment. So these are some of the other qualifying activities for your CPE. So I thought this is only effective from 2023. So here for each of those activities, if you're translating publication, how many hours are being considered for that? If you're delivering oral presentations, how much of those hours are considered for your CPE? All of that is also being provided. How many hours approximately study hours is required for CA challenge exam? We would say at least, it depends on the person, but at least 50 to 100 hours. Sir. So I think at least like 10 hours a week would be ideal to completely brush up, since it would be a long time since all of us would have studied. So brushing up would be required initially. So we suggest around 10 hours per day. If you're going through the material, you will need some additional hours. Just reading up the material would not take much time. So once you read up, you will have to take the question bank as well. So that will take some time. The mistakes we make, and then again, we will have to revisit them. So that will take some time. So until you get comfortable, at least 50 to 100 hours would be required. Approximately how many CIAs? So it will be in thousands only, sir. If you're asking for the number of CIAs, it will be in thousands. So yeah, the market is a bit niche, but yeah, a lot of people are now coming into it and trying to take up the exam. Yeah, and somebody had asked me, if I'm not wrong, can an Indian IIA member currently stationed abroad take an exam from a foreign location? The answer is yes, you can take up the exam. I think that answers the question. And if you're and the 13 only the 13 accounting bodies which are being given, only if you are a part of one of the 13 bodies, you will take. Even if you're an AICPA, it's not one of the 13 accounting bodies, you will not be able to take up the challenge exam. I think there's some other question. 100 to 200 hours or include both theory and reading MCQs? Yes, sir. For MCQs, usually for the ethics and culture and code of conduct and IPPF could be some areas which are new and would be requiring some time. So that is the reason I told around 50 to 100 hours. Yes, it's for reading and doing the MCQ. So yeah. Okay. Yes, so here we are being given even for performing external quality assessment. So there's some weightage which is being given for your CP. So once you've been qualified or certified as a certified internal auditor, these are some other activities, like how for chartered accountants we have CPD. Similarly, for once you become a CIA, you will have to take up CP series and complete it in order to be an active CIE. Yeah. I think there are some more questions. Just one moment. Yeah, okay. I think I've answered pretty much it. Okay. So annual certification renewal process, as of now, it's from December to Jan. From Jan to December is the program which is now. But for once from September 2023, there's a small change in the renewal process. So yeah. So annual renewal fees also, the link has been provided here. You can go through this link and you can pay your annual fees. Any graduation ceremony after passing? I don't think so. There's any graduation ceremony, sir. Since it's a demand-based exam, I don't think so. Probably we can check on this. You will get a badge which you can post on social media, sir. So that I'm sure. I'm not sure if there is a graduation ceremony as such which is being conducted annually by IIA. What is the pass percentage? That's also similar to traditional exams. Around 40% of the people who take up the exam clear the CIA both for traditional and challenge. Yes. So yeah, revocation. Yeah, for few activities, the revocation part does come. Okay, so yes, I think we do not have a graduation ceremony for CA. One of our tutors has confirmed that. So there's no graduation ceremony which will be conducted. Okay, so maintaining CPE records, yes, the title of the program. So whenever you attend any kind of CPE, kindly take note of the date you have attended, number of hours. There's a small certificate which is also being provided at end of session for most of the CPEs which is being conducted by IIA India or global. So kindly take note of that. Collect your certificate, date in which you attended, what was the topic, and the other documentation, so that you can claim for your CP years. Yeah, for the exit plan. Exit plan, you will have to record your performance, your experience. I will share that as well. So someone had asked how different is the syllabus. So I will share that, just one moment. For your exit plan based, you will have to, based on the criteria. So for CIA, you will have to fulfill 5 years as your experience record, and you will have to have somebody who certifies it. So that is the exit for you from your entire certification. Otherwise, you will not be called as a certified law auditor. However, you will have the qualification alone. So I will just go through the challenge exam syllabus. I have it broadly here through the site. I will share it maybe through the mail also. So broadly, I'll just tell you the areas which will be covered here. For part 1, it's completely the same as how it was for your traditional part. In CAA challenge also, whatever was covered in part 1 will be covered. So foundation of internal auditing, independence and objectivity, professional due care, code of conduct will completely be covered. QAIP will also be covered. GRC will also be covered. Fraud risk. So whatever is there in part 1 completely covered. Part 2, managing internal audit activities, planning engagements, performing engagements, and communicating. So part 2 also you will be completely having the same syllabus. Part 3 alone, except for the finance and the costing, business acumen, data analytics, and information technology and security will be covered. So if you had seen in my earlier slide, I'll share that as well. Yeah, I hope my slide is visible. So here, if you had seen in the part 3, the financial management part alone will not be there. Instead of that, we have the data analytics part. So business acumen will be covered. Information security, information technology will also be covered in the third part. The financial management part alone is excluded or removed. Instead of that one part, we will be having data analysis, which is a new addition from the last year's change in syllabus. So that is the only difference. By exit, what we mean is for the closure. So I'll just share that as well. Just one moment. Yeah. So once you enter this work experience, this place, you will enter details of your months. Number of months required is 24 because it's 2 years. So here you will enter your details. And once it's been verified, then proof of your experience is being validated. And then you come into the last stage of getting your certification. So if you see here towards the left side, in apply, you have this locked, right? You'll first finish that. Once you give review and submit, you'll go into test. You will have to take up CAA part 1, part 2, part 3. The last thing is verify. In verify, you will have to include your experience part. If your experience has been included, you're verified, and then you become a certified internal auditor. Usually gets reviewed during the month of June, sir. But again, if the syllabus has been reviewed or if it is being updated, usually there's no major change. Anything new, which is technology driven, anything which is new, which is in the trend, only that part will be included. But no part of the syllabus over the last few years have been removed or discarded. So whatever is there will be there. Something additional, it's always been put up in the IIA's website. So yeah. So once you verify your experience, it's done, it's cleared. So verification of your experience, not necessarily it has to be done in the first. It can also be done towards the last. So I think I pretty much answered the questions. If at all I've missed out any question, you can still post it. I will answer. Okay. Just one final thing on our handbook side. So the links for all of these are being provided. There are some non-disclosure agreements that you will have to agree to. And with that, there is a closure which comes up. So if there is any difficulty in appearing to the exam or anything where you're having difficulty, you can always call the Pearson Views Center. They will be able to help you or assist you in that. Yeah. So for taking up an exam, again, whatever you are not permitted to use any exam specific material or scratch paper, which is there for any exam or any other writing object. So since everything is MCQ driven, it will be done and marked in the system itself. So you will not be able to take anything in your hand. For calculator, I think you can use the systems calculator. There are some sums, if you're going for the traditional method, there are some sums which will come in your third part. So in order to contact number of Pearson View. Just one moment, sir. I will give you. There's a mail ID which is being given. I can share that as well. So any issues with the exam center, you're not able to attend, you can go through that. I think with the mail, we can share you with the Pearson Views contact details. So yeah. How to choose Pearson Views Center after fees has been paid. Okay, so I will take you through that. So here, once your fee is being paid, below it will ask you what is your center preference for your center, sir. So once you are coming under the eligibility criteria that you can take up the exam, just one moment. Once you schedule, here you will have to sign in. You will get an error message, but after that you will be able to sign in through Pearson View. So here, if you see, this is in your single sign-on. You will sign on onto your Pearson Views dashboard. This is how your dashboard will look. Once you schedule your date, you will have to go into this. And then once you, whatever exam you have chosen for, that will populate. And then how do you want to take up the exam? Is it at a local test center or at home or office? You will be able to select from here. If you were facing anything in specific, sir, you can always contact. In which mail? So you would have used a mail to register for this class, right, sir? All the PPTs and the details will be sent via that mail only. So that will be, I think, post the session. So yeah, here you will be able to take up which register, which language you need it in. All this will be done in Pearson Views site, sir. So then you get an order summary, the map, everything will be provided to you, where the test center is exactly there. What is the designated number for the test center? When is your appointment being scheduled? So any changes with Pearson View, if they're not able to conduct the exam, your fees will be refunded to your account and you can again pay it. Somebody has sent a mail ID. I think mostly the PPT will be shared with the mail ID you had sent for registration for your when you registered for this specific webinar. I think that is the usual way it's done. Anyways, your mail ID is there in the chat, so they will be able to share it to you, sir. So the time slots also can be taken up from this site itself. So I will share the CCMS user manual as well. It will be handy for anybody who's taking up. And then you come and sign out of the cart and then your exam fees is paid. If there's any issue with regard to this, you can always use the help desk which is there in IIA site itself. Minimum days gap between exam fee payment and exam date. Actually, based on the slot availability, sir. So some people even register from today, 2 days or 3 days later also. You can register anytime, provided it is CIA traditional exam. For challenge exam alone, the windows which I gave you, right? For June's exam, you will have to register by April. And for September's exam, you have to register by June. That alone you will have to keep in mind if you're taking up challenge exam. For traditional exam, it can be at any point in time based on the availability of slots. Better at least 1 week before. If you can do it, it'll be good. And then your order gets submitted, and then you get a summary of it. So here, if you see in your CCMS, when you log in your home page itself, it should show CIA, whichever part you're taken up, it should show as scheduled. That means your appointment date is fixed and the details you can take on. Okay, so that is the way to check if you're correctly registered. If you're having any issues, if not being updated on the site or anything, you can always contact them. Okay. So if there is any other question, we can take it up or we'll move on. So we have Dr. Paul Jaker here. So I think he can brief you on the exam difficulty and preparation method. So I'll just see if he's available. So we can take a couple of minutes for that. So he'll be joining now in a while. So he can also give, by then, if there's any other question which is unanswered, you can put it once again. I can take up that.
Good evening to all our participants. Thank you for joining today's meeting. Actually, if you have any specific questions also, please do post them so we could answer those. Other than that, briefly, just to summarize what Nikita has told us, see, the exam itself is a fairly straightforward process. The only thing which we need to remember is some questions carry more marks and some questions carry less marks. But the weightage given to those various questions is not known to us. So sometimes we have this complaint that they answered more questions but didn't clear and less questions but they cleared. So we don't know the weightage. So the advice is to answer all the questions. There's no negative marking, so there's no risk in answering all the questions. Answer whatever you know first, because you have practiced a lot of old questions through question banks. You would have gone through a lot of those, so you can. I think maybe you could also contact the Chennai IIA chapter, the Madras IIA chapter for help. We can help you on that. So we have these questions you can go through, and because of the practice you would have put in, the amount of effort, you will be able to answer most of them, but there will always be a small element of surprise. Those questions, I guess, and finally, before the time slot gets over, you can just guess. It's okay, there's no negative marking. But if you leave it, it's a 0. If you answer it wrongly also, it's a 0. So the risk is worth taking. You can gamble on the choice and finish it. So that's one thing which I always tell the students. Second is, as you were told earlier, try to achieve a speed of less than 1 minute per question, because English is sometimes a little long, or question may be long, English may be a little difficult or twisted. More questions you practice, the easier it becomes. Try to get this speed of less than 1 minute per question. So you have sufficient time to complete, and the questions you don't know, you can leave them for review later. You'll have enough time to go back and review them. Exam fees are a bit high. It's $900 for the challenge exam and the other fees you saw on the screen. fees are a bit high, so I guess failing is not an option. So you can prepare, work hard, prepare well, and take the exams. If there's anything else you want, also you could ask me. Otherwise, Nikita has covered most of what we have to look at. The temptation was that many people started taking up the
So there's a
challenge.
question. No, there's one question. Please advise how to approach the preparing.
Okay, the preparation part, okay, this is important, particularly if you're a senior person, either in
Okay,
industry
I think
or
the audio.
audio is not coming.
Your audio is actually not clear, sir. So we're not
Yeah.
able to hear you completely.
Okay. Now is it okay?
They're just asking the preparation approach. Yeah.
Yeah, the preparation approach is particularly if you are a senior person, either in industry or practice, don't remember, don't try to bring any practical experience or anything we have done into this exam. To be frank, this is a North American body, a US North American body, and all the whatever the content, including governance, code of ethics, the standards, audit planning, execution, everything is based on their standards. So don't bring in anything which you have either learned or practiced. Just stay with the study material, the questions. Your success rate will be very high. To give a small example, now, for instance, in India, for instance, all Asia, it's the same. An auditor comes to the office, external, internal auditor, and they've given him a good lunch. It's hospitality. But as per the European and US norms, it is a bribe. So we are writing the North American exam. So if it says an auditor got something which was little, which looks like hospitality to us, but which is not normally extended to others, we have to say it is not acceptable. It compromises independence of the auditor. So we have to, objectivity, independence, they're all definitions are completely different. So whenever you prepare, just stay with the study material, the notes, the old questions. Nothing from the Indian perspective or the Indian practical knowledge should be applied. That's one very important thing which you should remember. And the second thing is when we go into this, that's on the standards part, the IPPF is generally not available free. Actually, from the website, it's not free. But even outside, piracy is very low, so you may not get it. But there are a lot of IIA institutes, different institutes, Europe, Australia, Singapore, different institutes. They have summarized the IPPF and posted it. That will do for us. All that we need is, we need the number. They won't ask you the specific number, but you could kind of get the major number. Like say 1100 is a certain category for our ethics. And within that, if it starts with an A, it's advisory, it's assurance, I'm sorry. A is assurance, C is consulting. So any standard you pick up will have an assurance explanation, say A.1. The same IPPF standard number will have a C.1, which is the consulting component. Example, now let's say as an internal auditor, you're checking a new payroll system. You're checking the system before purchase. You're part of the steering committee or the procurement team, which is evaluating the payroll software. That's a consulting assignment. But later on, you are not involved in this, but later on they bought the software. Payroll is running as an internal auditor. You're doing a risk assessment or a risk and control matrix. That's an assurance function. Now the rule is, if you were involved in the consulting function, let's say you were part of the committee which approved the purchase, you should not also take up the audit of data coming from that software or its adequacy of controls, because then it's a conflict of interest. But the gap between these two is 1 year. See, in India, the general cooling period is 3 years, but there it is 1 year. So again, another difference. You may have in a consulting component of the consulting assignment, then the same internal auditor is going to the assurance, 1 year gap is sufficient. Now, taking another example, if the consulting role was, let's say, a certain amount of fees or whatever, and that fee is more than the assurance, there's no problem because consulting is more like a business arrangement. Assurance is slightly different. It's more of a responsible reporting kind of a role. We also find a lot of differences you'll come across, particularly regard to gifts, independence, roles, also the evidence and reporting. There'll be a lot of requirement in the American and European environments for evidence, reporting, and the evidence should be capable of standing on cross examination. It's not forensic, but it should be complete. It cannot be partial. And another thing is, there's a lot of trust in the US and the European environment. We don't have much of trust. See, we try to check everything because we are trying to be more skeptical. But in the US environment, there will be a lot of trust involved. So again, you have to accept that level of trust, even though we may not be happy with it. It's like a policeman in India. You see a policeman, you normally think you bribe him, but if it's in the US, if you bribe him, you'll get into more trouble. So we need to work on that. The American concept of trust, evidence, whatever the adequacy of our. So, for instance, if somebody gave you a statement and there was no reason to suspect it, you can accept it. Whereas in India, we always like to play it a little safe. Why I'm telling you so much is because if you try to bring in any practical experience from the Indian environment into the exam, it will not match what they're expecting in the American certification. So this is something we have to remember, and it gets more and more deeper when you go to the planning part, the scheduling, the execution, lessons learned, methods of collecting evidence. It's all, for us, it will be textbook. No practical examples to be brought in. We also have to look at the other part. We also have to think in terms of the other parts where we have the IT and a little bit of data analytics and so on. The only thing we don't have is the finance portion and the tax portion. That's for the challenge exam. Those writing the 3 parts, third part will have all the components. So we also need to work only with the American concept of leadership, management, delegation of authority. They all go by only those standards. And we also remember that each audit assignment which is taken up is a project. So all that we do is like a project. Everything is like a project management. You start, you plan, you start, you execute. Then when you exit, you have lessons learned. Everything has to be done the way a project is managed. That's fine because anyway, that's a good thing to do. Even in India, if we did that, we could easily make all our projects successful. And the other thing is when you have communication reports, the rule is very clear. And if you take this time IPPF 1111, it says you can report directly to the audit committee, or if they are also not listening, directly to the board of directors. So the internal auditor has got a lot of independence. He doesn't have to go to the CEO or the CFO route. He has got a right to directly report, which is again something which the audit charter will give them. The other thing is they use internal auditors, not as an internal audit department alone. You can take, let's say it's an audit of, say, stores. The internal audit department of the company can take a person from marketing to help them with the stores audit. India, it's never done. So you can do that, provided the person is competent, etc. Whatever the rules say on his, his due professional competence and all that. You can take that person and use that person for the audit. India, it's not allowed. So these are some of the things, differences you will find. So stay with the American concept. And also they do a lot of benchmarking with other industries and other departments, like stores may be benchmarked with sales or could be benchmarked with something else in the same company. We never do that. Mainly this is for management, quality, leadership, those kind of things. You also have the thing where when companies are taken up in the internal audit department in the companies doing audit, they can call an outside agency, a third party, to do a quality assessment of the internal audit department of the company, or they can call another department of the same company, like maybe you could call HR and ask them to do a quality assessment of the internal audit department of the company. So these are some of the confusing things which we will definitely come across. Stay with the American and European point of view. So they have a lot of trust in the sense that they'll allow another department to audit, and one department of the same company can audit the internal audit department. Quality assurance and improvement programs are common. Training is very common. The whole emphasis here is on quality, risk management, assessment of risks, bringing value to the organization. Of course, there are a lot of failures also. Anyway, we know Enron, WellCom, Hydro One. Okay, there are a lot of failures also, but what we need to focus on is only the exam portion. You could ask a question, how practical is it? Will it help me with my day-to-day work with the normal audits? Actually, we are looking more at the recognition component, where in India, most of the companies which recruit or insist on CIA qualification, they are looking at a very, it's a very organized internal audit. They want all these things to be done, governance. Of course, now we have the ESG, but that's not in the portion. The governance, corporate governance part of it, they also want this mission vision to be complied with. They want the planning right from the mandate, from the audit charter, planning, execution, documentation, results, the RCMs, the reports, presentations. They also have a lot of communication where you need to communicate as and when you detect problems, not if it's important. Otherwise, you can bring it to your normal reporting cycle. So there are a lot of things which an internal auditor is more like those companies, those countries rather. The internal auditor plays more like a supervisory function, more like a like how the British put the supervisors and junior engineers and assistant engineers to keep reporting on what's happening. So the internal auditor is more in that role. And the maybe the last point I should add is a lot of operational knowledge. They call it business acumen in our IIA parlance. Business acumen, which means the internal auditor is completely familiar with all the operational processes in the organization. All, whether it's a power plant or it's a logistics company or it's an airport, it doesn't matter. He's thorough with it. Now, that is again important because the focus is not entirely on finance alone. The focus is on the entire organization. Of course, it will be split into different module segments, RCMs, etc. So I think that should add a lot of whatever points to whatever Nikita has told you. If you have any other questions, please do go ahead. Also,
I think
just
there's a question on Pearson View are same as IIA India chapter personnel.
no. Pearson View is a third party. It's an international organization, just like Prometric. And see, there are international companies which conduct exams. Okay, to give you a brief background, except in India, Pakistan, and Sri Lanka, where we have acts of parliament which brought about the CA and ICW and all that, ACS. Rest of the world, all the associations are private. I mean, leave of England, that's England and Wales. The AICPA, the ISACA, the IIA, you can think of all the bodies, the PMP, all of them have nothing to do with the government. They are purely private bodies. So they have CEOs, executives, profit and loss, balance sheets. So what happens is they are independent. So they don't conduct the exam. Of course, they get people to give them questions, they build question banks, and then they give it to third parties who conduct the exam. Actually, Pearson View is one such company. They conduct exams for other courses also. One of the courses they conduct is for the IIA, the CIA course. So they will conduct this exam and they will, it's an online exam, they'll conduct this exam, tabulate your results, then they'll send the results to the IIA for vetting. Nothing much, actually, it's a 2-day delay, but otherwise nothing much happens there. So all the weightage, everything is already done in the Pearson View computers itself. So the IIA will formally say the result is okay. And at that point, they declare you as passed and send you an online mark sheet and badge and all those things. So actually, the IIA by itself does not conduct any exams, or they're only in charge of the syllabus. They propagate this across the world because in the rest of the world, there's no formal course for an formal certification for an internal auditor. So this is the only one they have. Similarly, for CPA, only AACPA will certify. It's only England, Wales, and India, Pakistan, and Sri Lanka where we have these bodies. And then it was duplicated in Malaysia, Nepal, a few countries, not too many of them. So most of the countries, it's private. So that's something you'll have to remember. And we have
Contact details, I put it down here. I hope my screen is visible. So you will have to just go into Pearson View IAA, and then under that you will be able to find the contact details of IAA for India. And then you can call them if there's any issue with your registration, exam registration, or if there's a holiday, you're not able to locate the center, etc.
you will have to book your appointment with the Pearson View well in advance, because they, except in Bombay and Delhi, Chennai, Bangalore, some bigger cities, they don't have too many machines available. They conduct other exams also. So it's better you book well in advance and fix your dates.
Another question, whether we can connect with Pearson View only through CCMS. Yes, through CCMS itself, you can connect to Pearson View. It will take you, once your exam is being scheduled or you want to schedule your exam, once you have set up which paper, which exam and all that, after that, it will take you to the Pearson View site where you can select the center in which you will be requiring to take up your exam. So that will be from your CCMS, you can move into your Pearson View.
I think there is a question from Ajay Kumar, who was asking how long will it take to prepare. I see you need roughly 150 hours if you are on the 3-part. If you are on challenge, safely, I would say you can reduce maybe 30 hours, so maybe about 120 hours will require. That you will have to somehow build into the whatever days are available. My suggestion is, apart from the theory, try to answer as many sample questions as possible, so that there are many things, but two main things are: one, you start understanding the language and what is expected from you. The second is you get the speed, because we know as humans, repetition, it's easy when, say, I can tell you from Indian point of view, passing an exam is multiple choice is easy, because the more questions we do, the faster the brain responds to, even if it's a new question. That's why we do very well in multiple choice. We don't do well in analytical exams, but that's okay. This is a multiple choice exam. There are no scenarios, no case studies, not like the SEMA exam, no headaches. So you should be able to manage this quite safely. But you have to put in that much hard work, because the fees is a bit high. So, money is important also. Is there anything else? No, is there anything else which you would like to?
Difficulty level.
Yeah, then if there are no questions, then I think we can wind up. You can also go through whatever we have posted, at least my videos, some of them are on the YouTube. You can see the RCM course. So we got some postings over there. And you can feel free to contact the IIA chapters for help, any kind of guidance you want. So actually, it's not very difficult. I would definitely say you could do it. It's also useful because most of the audit companies abroad would like to have CIAs in their qualified CIAs in their internal audit teams.
Yeah, so I don't think so there are any further questions in the Q&A box. So thank you so much for attending. If there's anything that you would like to know, you can always contact the IIA. The coordinator's number is always put up. Or you can also contact us if there's anything. I'll just give you my mail ID alone. Yeah. So thank you so much for attending.
Thank each one of you attending. Wish you all the best. For those taking the exams, wish you a happy new year also. Thank you for attending.